Now, yes, now I saw this, and this is Ryan Gosling. It's Ryan Gosling is Emily Blunt. It's set in Australia, and I just sent you guys a message after I saw this film in the cinema saying The Fall Guy, a lot of fun.
Fun.
And it is a lot of fun. There are so many elements to this film that just made me go, yep, that's fun, that's fun, that's fun. And the basic premise of the film is that you have the film starts off and they talk about the stuntman. They talk about the stuntman and they talk about what the stuntman does and how the fact that the stuntman is this person who's in the film and makes all these films and makes cinema but never gets any credit. They kick off with a little bit about that. Then you meet Ryan Gosling. He's on a film set. He's a stuntman he's the preferred stuntman for a Hollywood actor played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's and Taylor Johnson is kind of like, your typical sort of spoilt movie star who the first time you see him he's looking at a film monitor and he's going, yeah, that's a stuntman, but there's too much face. You can see that that's not me. It's like, no, we need to do it again. We need to do that. We need to do the whole stunt again. And so Ryan Gosling's like, yeah, he wants to do it again. And there's this tracking shot that follows Ryan Gosling through the film set as he's talking everything. He's talking on his walkie-talkie. He's having this sort of like flirty back and forth with Emily Blunt and all that, all the while, and it follows him as he goes into a lift, follows him all the way as he goes up the lift, because this is a stunt where he's going to jump off the top of a building and fall backwards. And as they're doing this, I think that they're putting a lot of stuff in there about the way films are made and what film sets are like and how stunts actually go, how stunts are done. And there's all these sort of little details that I think that first tracking shot, you can go back and sort of watch it over again and go, ooh, okay, oh yeah, that's the best boy, that's what happens, that's the video village and all that. And something goes wrong when he does this stunt, and the film jumps forward 18 months later. By this time, Jodie, the Emily Blunt character, has graduated from being a camera operator to being a director. She's directing her first film, which is this big sci-fi epic, and it's out in Australia. The Ryan Gosling character, called Savers, he's named after he has the same name as the Lee Majors character in the original Fall Guy TV show. He has to say, he has stopped being a stuntman because he sort of blames himself for his accident and he thinks, I can't show my face in the stunt community again. I made a stupid mistake. But he's recovering from his injuries. He's working as a valet. Then he gets this call from Hannah Waddingham, who plays a character called Gail, who is the producer on all the films of the Aaron Taylor Johnson character. And she's like, hi, yes, oh, come on, you need to come all the way. You need to come all the way to Australia because I need you. We can't find the star. The star has gone missing. I need you. I need your help. And he's like, no, leave me alone. And he's like, but it's Jodie's film. And he's like, buy me the next ticket. And he flies to Australia because even though it's been 18 months and he has essentially ghosted Jodie, he has not answered her phone calls or anything like that. He's still like, oh, her movie's in trouble. I want to help her. And then what happens is like this mix between romantic comedy and action comedy. A little bit, there's some bits of it where it feels a little bit like Romancing the Stone, where you have two people just going up against each other and just sort of like fighting and bickering and everything like that. And it's one of the best examples of that I have seen recently, where you just have a couple bickering. And there's bits where there's one particular scene where they have pretty much a lover's argument over megaphones on a film set. where you're just kind of like, okay, this is a bit weird, but it's a lot of fun. This film is a bit of a karaoke movie in that they have so many different points where you will be singing along to the soundtrack of the film because they have picked some bangers. They've picked absolute bangers. The main one they've picked is Kiss, I Was Made for Loving You. By the time you finish this film seems to be designed to make you love that song because almost every big action set piece they have is soundtracked by I Was Made for Loving You, baby. It's just I just had a great time with this film. I enjoyed it. They keep doing these things where they keep constantly talking about the way the film is actually made. Like there's a bit where, because obviously Emily Blunt's character Jodie is a director, she phones him up and she goes, what do you think about split screen? And then the film goes into split screen.
Oh wow! Yeah. That sounds like I might enjoy that sort of thing.
Oh no, Sean. There's a lot of self-referential from the film buff, inside baseball kind of like stuff that they put in there that you're kind of like, as a film buff, you're like, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, how do you do that? Like there's a bit where they there's a bit where they because the film that they're making is the film inside the film that they're making is a bit of a kind of like a Mad Max type film. So there's bits where they're driving a car and they do a roll where he does a stunt where he makes the car roll, and they come up to him and they say, "Oh my God, 8.5 turns! That's a world record!" And the fact is, they did that stunt for real because this film was directed by David Leitch, who was one of the original directors of John Wick, and he was a stuntman himself. So they tried to do as many of the stunts as possible. And at the end of the film, they actually show you how they did all these stunts practically, as opposed to using CG. But the thing is, and so in the film, they did that stunt for real, where they flipped the car. And the Fall Guy actually has the record because for that stunt, they did 8.5 rolls, and it is a world record. So within the film, they're like 8.5 rolls. It's a world record, and they keep having things where they're talking about the way the film they watch is being made. And there's a bit where Emily Blunt's going, "Yeah, we're having troubles with the third act. We don't know what we're going to do with the third act."
It does sounds really. Well, we'll look forward to that. I thought I'd save that. Yeah, we might have to arrange a time to go and see that.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. I had hopes to get there this week, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to get good stars, I reckon.
It's going to get good stars from me, although there is a caveat. There is a caveat here, in that don't think about it too much.
I won't know. There's one bit in the trailer. There's one bit in the trailer that I thought, oh no, please, which is with the big skip thing, I think.
With the big skip, the big skip thing is actually quite fun. It's quite fun. But if you don't. If you start thinking about the plot of this film, or if you start thinking about the machinations, and when you start finding out what's actually going on, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense if you start thinking about it. You're like, hang on a second, but if you did that, how would you know that? Why did it? There's a big action scene that is actually quite fun. It's quite fun. It has to do with somebody trying to kill Ryan Gosling with a katana. And you're like, okay, that's a quite cool scene. But when you actually stop and you think about it, you're like, wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. How would that person know that? No. There's lines that don't make sense, but it is a lot of fun. I would give this a 4. I would give 4. Cool. I'll fill the Fall Guy a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I sang my heart out in the middle of the cinema.
That's good. If you can sing it, sometimes that happens in movies. Like I tap me thing, or like when there's a good soundtrack, I'm like, wow, it can make a difference.
It's a good soundtrack. There's a bit where they go to a karaoke bar. I was singing and tapping my foot along and trying to sort of like hide my face so I wouldn't annoy anybody else in the cinema. But I was like, yeah, great song. It's a total karaoke movie.